Joey, look.
Yeah, it's not always
Is that a Thunderbolt?
no, it's a V6.
No, it's the real one.
Oh, the real one.
The real one.
See that little going?
You look overhead to the right is the 26 Texan, the yellow aircraft that took off here just a short time ago. Carrying a 1,475 horsepower red rating limit. Approaching out here over the left end of the runway is the S2F tracker. This is very similar to the trader that's parked over here in the ramp area, although the tracker did it. Rolling. And the tail would bang down on the carrier deck. This is the reason for that little tail wheel on the airplane.
No, I'm talking 750 feet. I don't want you down low. I want you up around 750 feet.
Oh, yeah, up in the air. Yeah.
The guy makes wooden models.
Go! Go!
an old saying at air shows. We'd ask that you take nothing but pictures, leave nothing but footsteps. And if you think about that, not only going to let the helicopter identify where he is, but it's going to show from which direction and how fast the wind is blowing. This group that's with us today, this is what they do for a living. They tell me that the Miami Coast Guard Station is the busiest air-sea rescue operation in the entire world. So these guys know what they're doing. Not only do they engage in certain co-pilot on that helicopter today is Lieutenant Todd Chase. He's from Brookfield, Colorado, 10 years active duty. And also on board is the rescue swimmer, Tim Raymond, and the flight mechanic and hoist operator is Jim Portcock. Tim is from Minnesota, Jim is from New Jersey. And as they've got him, hoisted him back up, another successful rescue by the United States Coast Guard. Before and after the show, he's going to be down at the east end of the field giving helicopter rides. That's the U.S. Coast Guard out of Coast Guard Station in Miami. And we thank you guys for this demonstration. This is what they do every day. Okay, right now we're standing by. We're going to launch our C-47 aircraft, which is going to carry our parachute jumpers, which will officially open the show today. several here. At least 2 will be flying. Waves of more than 350 Japanese bombers and torpedo planes struck. 18 U.S. ships were either sunk or disabled. And in virtually one fell swoop, U.S. naval power in the Pacific was completely crippled. The Wildcats were scrambled, those that weren't destroyed by the enemy attack. The United States was, at the very best, a fourth-rate air power. Germany had... And as George makes his pass from left to right, show you that we're away, and notice that kangaroo marking on the side, very unique. This is a variant of the T-6 aircraft. We're about a minute away from our flag jump, ladies and gentlemen. From left to right. The C-45. Our C-45 is just about ready to release his jumpers, and you should be able to see them come out of the aircraft. Single-handedly, and we'll tell you a little bit of the detail, has wiped out about 75 Japanese infantrymen. Hey, Dr. Eugene Watson, we need you to contact one of the communications people. Do not go to the gate, go to the communications van behind the announcer's stand, please. Dr. Eugene Watson, you have a medical emergency, and we need you at the communications van. Now that Wildcat was our first-line fighter at the time of the Pearl Harbor attack. Very simple system. And on your right is the C-45, Bob James taxiing in. That was the jump aircraft today. Now, the one way you can show these guys you appreciate their efforts, both in bringing their airplanes here and in some of our other aircraft, T-6s. Pilot. He's got a lot of hours in that aircraft, a lot of test pilot hours. That airplane was the first American to test fly the manufactured Japanese aircraft. Actually have qualification courses and check rides that are required to be taken before a pilot is even allowed to fly formation. And this is a beautiful demonstration of formation flying that we're getting today. The T-34 pilots in the lead. Judd Deakins is in that group, longtime Valiant Air Command member also. And leading the Albert is Smokey Joe Howard from McMinnville, Tennessee. You can see why we call him Smokey Joe. And the L-19D of Joe Howard is another award-winning aircraft. He's won many, many awards with that. Now the T-34s overhead were from a little later training era, beginning in the 50s. They're doing a beautiful job and just making it look easy. When it looks easy, they're doing it right. Now in our T6 contingent today, we've got Mike Hallam. Began its life in the U.S. Army. This is a demonstration on that L-19D. This was the basic trainer, BT for basic trainer. This was usually the second airplane that the cadet flew, manufactured by Vultee Aircraft, also known as the Vultee Vibrator, for obvious reasons. And that includes the Cessna 150 or any of your Piper Cherokees. During the war, the T-6 was exported to many countries, It was used as in a fighter-bomber type role by many foreign countries during the war. The United States didn't use it as an attack aircraft, used it solely for training. But that T-6 was the last airplane, the advanced trainer, the aircraft that the cadet had to master before he was given a P-51 or a P-40 or any other frontline fight. As the T-34s come overhead from your left right now, they're going to give us a break to a landing. This was a common military maneuver in the training fields during the war days. You'll watch them pitch up, brake to the left, lower the gear, enter downwind and land. And I'm going to wait for those helpers as they taxi from the right. You notice Smokey Joe is doing his thing. Change in the wind, but they will be taxiing in front of you if you want to get some pictures of them on the tack. I think if you see these guys walking around the field after the show, don't be surprised if you see them walking in formation. Very, very difficult thing to do, formation. What you're seeing there is Mr. Pat Phillips. Pat's an attorney from Orlando that owns and flies that P-17. He's going to show us a little example of the aerobatic maneuverability of that P-17 aircraft. And you'll notice sometimes when he goes upside down, you hear that engine sputter. That's nothing to get upset about. The engine does not have an inverted fuel system, and when he's upside down, it's actually starving the engine of fuel, and you'll hear it sputter, and then when he goes right side up, it starts up again.
Now he's going to push the nose down on the aircraft. Speed pulls the stick tack right up across the top, upside down. This quarters the loop, and a half roll on the half Cuban 8 maneuver. Pull back on the stick down around the left side, climb the aircraft straight up into the vertical, across the top to the inverted position. He'll establish that 45-degree downline with a half roll right there, completing the Cuban 8 maneuver. This aircraft has a 220 horsepower continental lift. Now we're going to get a point roll. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8. You can hear that engine sputter as it goes inverted. It is not equipped with the inverted fuel system. He flies this aircraft on the rear seat solo. Okay, comes forward down on the stick, pushes the nose down on the aircraft, builds up some speed, comes back on the stick. Now we're going to take the aircraft vertical, right straight up across the top, squares off that corner, pulls it inverted, squares off the next corner, right straight back down in the vertical, and pulls hard back on the stick for the square loop. This is the Japanese version of the T-34 Mentor. The main difference on these aircraft is this one is a little wider and has become a 4-plate. As he holds the PT-17 upside down, again we get that sputter out of that engine. As it comes right side up, it picks up the fuel once again on the 200. Once again, the steering nose comes down and it builds up a lot of speed. Let's see a lot of speed. Right straight in the vertical, across the top. He's halfway around, 5, 6, 7, and the 8 point for the octagon loop. We're going to call it the giant shark line in the sky. Once again, he comes back on the stick and climbs for altitude out here on the right side. In aerobatics, the snap roll is probably one of the most violent maneuvers a pilot can perform. And as you notice, this big heavy airplane up there kind of walls around through that maneuver. It's an extremely heavy aircraft. And he is flying aerobatics out here with both hands on the stick. Down here on the right side, give our T6 SNJ pilots a big wave as they taxi past in review. Entering out here on the left side is our chairman. Now watch this. It's called a rolling 360-degree turn. The pilot starts into that, pulls the nose over around the aircraft, but now also he's coordinating a 360-degree turn, simultaneously rolling the aircraft to the inside of that maneuver. How about a big wave out here for the T6 SNJ pilot? This sober aircraft wears a Spanish marking as we have the 360-degree rolling turn continuing out across the demonstration area.
A big wave for George. Let him know that we appreciate his efforts. Doesn't give you... Sizzling Liz, Dave Marcos, what the MiG pilots trained in, the Russian equivalent of our P-6. Now, if you haven't heard the P-51 story, it's such a classic. I'm going to give you the and what they wanted to do was have North American Aviation build P-40s under license for the Royal Air Force. When they went out of the air was the lack of a suitable engine. With the original engine in the P-51 attack, looks like they've got Crazy Horse in the air right now. Provided that capability. Kermit Essex. Kermit, we appreciate you bringing that airplane here. Merlin engine. Mr. Campbell just taxiing in behind Kermit. And his seat show you what it was like in its attack roll. And you can see it's a very maneuverable, very agile fighter aircraft. Now Lee's going to give us a demonstration of the maneuvering capability of the P-51. This is a beautiful 4-point roll. anyone who would like to visit with him and go for a ride, go for a ride. Problem is, it'll cost you about $2,000. This looks like Mr. Joe Tobel and his beautifully restored Marine T6. Now you can get an idea of the vertical performance capability of the P-51 as Lee shows us go loop over the top, and as he comes down, training altitude for airspeed. Mr. Randall Hayes in the lead. And Lee Latterbach in Crazy Horse out of Kissimmee. Yep. Randall started flying when he was 18 years old, one of those $10 Cessna pilot school introductions. Got about 3,000 hours. He's showing you the rolling ability of that aircraft. Now Sandy Rossell in the Blue Angels T-33 is also going to give us a little acro demonstration. And off to your left, you see Randall coming in, left to right. Giving us an inverted pass. Now, Randall actually calls this an inverted arc because the T-33 does not have an inverted fuel system, and if he actually stayed inverted, its engine would quit. We don't want that to happen. So he maintains positive G's by doing an inverted arc, and it's kind of a ballistic shape. As well as this aircraft, Randall owns a 1946 Taylorcraft, and if that's not diversity, I don't know what is. When he's not flying the Taylorcraft, he's flying this T-33. Now he's going to do some rolls, show us the rolling ability. Rolls down the shoulder. Beautifully restored Blue Angels T-33. Show us a 4-point roll. Well, looks like because of the cloud conditions, Sandy called off that 4-point. 3 T-33 flown by John Rossman, owned by Robert Del Valle from Brooksville, Florida. That's in the original Thunderbird. Our T-33 is going to give us a little more acro demonstration while we're setting up our Valiant. Get another knife edge. Beautiful photo pass. By Sandy. That was T-33. To the background, the people who own and fly these airplanes in real life. Randall owns a music company in Gaffney, South Carolina. He doesn't fly for a living, but this is his hobby. Another example of a rare aircraft looking for a target. Very successfully. Just taking off left to right is another actual combat veteran. It's got a big right 3,300 horsepower radial on it. Now the smaller Cal T-28 is the original A version, which was used primarily by the Air Force. C-Model got the tail hook. The outfit of that T-28 aircraft was designed to closely simulate the F-86 jet fighter, and the T-28 was actually the first. As we recover the AD Sky Raider, see off to your left, the C-47 is going to show us a gunship turn, simulate a gunship attack in Vietnam, the C-probably, and he's going to show us what it was like when he made a gunship pass in ground position. C-47 is going to go around. This next pass will be an active pyrotechnic pass. Guns on the one side of the C-47 gunship were turned loose. Off to your right, you can see the Sky Raider coming in. That was a carrier-based aircraft that did have folding wings, which solved some of the storage problems on those carriers. Mr. Sherman's giving us a little demonstration of those wings. He's not flapping the wings, he's just showing us how they can go to the stowed and unstowed position. Personally, I'm a little reluctant to get in an airplane that has wings that fold. This aircraft served in the Army Air Corps, this particular airplane, until after the end of the war. It didn't participate in the invasion of Normandy. Was donated through one of the Lend-Lease programs to the Danish Air Force. You notice those black and white stripes on the wings of the aircraft. That is showing you what it looked like on D-Day on the invasion of Normandy. The Allied aircraft were marked with those invasion stripes so that people on the ground as well as in the air could tell.
Air Force F-15 Eagle.